is with our financial reporting. So that dimensionality, so the fact that I'm capturing fund and account department in their own sort of element, everything when we build out the global ledger, it's essentially a cube. So I can slice and dice it in any way that I'm looking to. So let's just go here to my financial structure analysis. And I'm going to pick that. And that's what this is really an ad hoc financial reporting capability that uses all of the different dimensions and structures that I have set up and allows me to drag and drop. So let's say that I had a request where someone wanted to see maybe just my expenditures, but they wanted to see it by organization. So I can use the hierarchy, and I can say, well, I want to select the elements that I want to choose. All of those hierarchies that I have set up are available for my reporting. So now I can just drill in and say, well, you know what, I want to see just my expenditures. And then I can expand those into the structure that I have, right? So I can go down as far in that structure as I want to go. But now let's say that I want to bring those by department instead of by entity. I can just drag and drop that department. That's going to bring me the whole structure, but again, I can choose which dimension hierarchy that I want to use. And let's say I only care about administration and maybe public works. So I can pick and now say, well, I wanted to see the top level and administration and public works. So I can do some comparison reporting. Now, if I wanted to then change that, let's just say that I wanted to look at it by maybe budget to actuals instead. You know, I can certainly move my department here. I'm still looking at my expenditures. Actually, let's flip my account back over there. Oh, no, you go over there. Thank you. Go back where you were. So let's just say now instead of by department, I wanted to see a budget to actuals. I can pull my scenarios down, which is where we capture all of our budget to actuals information. And I can say, well, you know what, I want to select my commitments, encumbrances, actuals, and my total obligation. And I want to see what the total operating budget was for each of those different branches. And then again, I can continue to drill down and now see information from there. So because each of those different dimensions is independent, I roll them up in different hierarchies, I can slice and dice data from a financial reporting perspective really quickly. And then if I need to do, some fact finding, like I wasn't really expecting this $300, I can click into that and the system's going to take me up. Okay, that one didn't, that data. That one somebody probably removed. But I can drill into all of the information here. Let's take an actuals figure here. Let's drill into supplies and maintenance a little bit further. And let's just take, let's take this $1,000. And then the system, there's something going on with my demo system. Let's go on the other environment. I apologize for that. I've got a lot of people in it today too, so there's some folks that are probably doing some switching around of some stuff for me. My data's not great, let's put it that way, but my no, I wanna. Yeah, you can drill down into that. Yeah.
But I think you see where.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. Yeah, you can drill down, drill around. That.
This time she's drilling down. Yeah. They have the same drill down in this version. You're accustomed to from the transaction itself.
Yep. Yeah. All the way down into all the different dimensions. Yeah.
Because again,
yeah, so you can just drill into all of that information, that detail, and get down to the individual transactions. The other thing that you can do within this tool set from a financial reporting perspective is we have some delivered financial reports here, so you'll see like things like trial balance, income statement, budget to actuals, so different standard delivered reports that you can tweak using the tool set. So if you wanted them to look a little bit different, you wanted them to have headers and what have you, you can take and tweak those as well. So, if I want to come in and look at, let's say my income statement here, the system's going to have some year-over-year data here, but I still have the same ability to, select the chart that I want, right? I can say, well, I really don't care about all of that information there, so I can, say, I don't want those performance management accounts, that's all I want. I want my revenue and my expenditures here, and I want to be able to compare. And so we've got some year-over-year dates. Now, where these dates come into play is something that we call a reporting basis. And a reporting basis is the ability for you all to take and essentially have predefined groupings of hierarchies, dimensions, and calendars together, and ledgers. So if you have adjusting entries, right, and you're doing your final financial statements and you want to include your audit adjustments, you can include those. But maybe you have other reports where you don't want to include those. So you can set up a reporting basis for that. And then, if you need to, you can change that. You can add this particular report as a favorite. I can do additional filtering. And so even though that report has a predefined format, I can still use all the dimensionality that I have set up and configured to filter out data, right? So let's say this balance sheet or this income statement, is great, but I only want to see it for a particular fund or for a particular department or organization, or I want to filter out based on a ledger or, another element of my accounting dimension.
So we just go back to the screening. What if we wanted to put in your budgeted figures against your 2018 and your prior year?
You can configure that using the tool set, right? So these are templates that we deliver, and then using what we call Application Studio, which is the tool that underlies all of this, you can build out reports that look and feel the exact same way.
When you run an income statement, what you want to be as part of that income statement? What column?
Yep, exactly. You can configure that.
So that becomes part of your life.
Yep. And you can add those types of reports here. So if you have, again, a specific, report format, you can either add them here to the quick sheet here, or you can, add them as favorites as part of your pre-configured library. Mm-hmm.
I have to leave that to get this.
I can
do that for buying it.
Yeah.
I'll send you the report.
Yeah.
All right.
I give you information. All right. Yeah.
So see, we're doing all this, of course, without, extracting the data, normalizing, putting it in the data warehouse for corrections.
Yeah. So any of those different reports that you, build out or configure, you can access those from your landing page. And then here are all of the different reporting bases that we have set up. And again, they're just predefined groupings of information. So depending on how you set up your chart of accounts and how you do some of your configuration, we just come back here to my controller role. Just drill into that setup a little bit. For that enterprise group, down here in the reporting basis, if we just come into what that reporting basis looks like, this is where I'm going to define for this reporting basis, these are all the hierarchies that I want to use as a default, right, for this reporting basis. This is the calendar that I want to use, the first fiscal year that I'm using, what ledgers do I want to include, and if I have multiple entities set up within my chart of accounts, which entities I want to include in that. And so once you set those up, then on that financial reporting homepage, there we go. on that financial homepage, all my reporting bases are over here, and so I just basically say, well, I want to select this particular reporting basis and what report that I want to use, and I want to, select a trial balance, and it's going to take and combine all those dimensions together, all those structures, the calendar that I've specified, and then pull out. In this case, I started with 2017, but of course I can take and then, take that same default report and pull out additional data that I might have. Right? And then again, as I mentioned, even though I start with that reporting basis, I can always filter, change, update the reporting basis directly here from the report itself. So I can go in and select my filters and even change my reporting basis. You can extract all of this detail here, so I can extract it to PowerPoint, to PDF, or directly to Excel from here as well. So, and then we also have a tool called Office Plus that plugs in here with Application Studio, where you can actually even take and embed these reports in like a Word document. So if you have a document that you're presenting, that you're presenting into Parliament, or then you can basically take and have all of the narrative that goes with that financial report on top of it, and then you pull in this report from that perspective. Okay. And then the great thing about that is that when you're in that Word document, you can hit a refresh button, and if you've had any changes in or updates, right, from a financials perspective, it will refresh the numbers in that document, which is really nice, because I've spent a few nights whiting out papers and replacing numbers in them before things like this existed. So, yes, and again, you have the ability to drill down into all of that detail. Now, in addition to that reporting infrastructure, right, where everything's sort of dynamic and has that cube infrastructure, there's a ton of other financial transaction-related type reporting that's available within the solution. So if I come up here to my reports, there's a finance transactions report, there's an account analysis report, which I like as well a lot, where I can set up my own sort of groupings, right? So let's say that I want to see some details that I have in my work in progress account. So I can, again, put in some defaults. I want this scenario, I want actuals, I want this year, this is the entity, the funds that I'm looking for, all of the other dimensions. And then the system will take that, it's like a predefined criteria, and it'll say, okay, well, here's the details of what you asked for. These are all your work in progress accounts. This is the detail that you have. And then again, if I wanted to drill down into that, that's going to bring me up into all of the transactions, and I can see that $3,000 was created from this AP transaction. These are all the accounting distributions that were associated with it. So that capability exists within some of the delivered reports and capabilities within the solution. And then the finance transaction analysis still is just essentially a transaction list, but again, you can continue to drill down each of these different areas of the solution. So everywhere that Scott showed you, like that vendor listing or the item listing, or this particular transaction listing, these are what we call report anywhere. And so let's say that I wanted to look for, a particular project number, and let's say I wanted to look for an account. If I wasn't sure what I was looking for, I could search here and say, okay, well, I'm looking for, say, 5340, so I want to filter a little bit further down. And so let's say somebody asked me what are all the transactions that hit this project in this particular GL account. I can, from here, create this as a standard report or a private report. I can personalize this, so if there are other fields in the system that I wanted to include here, I can add them in, or I could just print this directly to a PDF or a CSV. So one of the things that we've really gone to when we think about that infrastructure of the solution is this report anywhere concept. I've worked with several different ERP solutions in my career, and I worked with many that delivered you like 5 million reports. And inevitably, I would be in a customer implementation that like, I love that report, but could you take this field off and this field off? I need this field. I would like you to resort it and recode it, and that'd be great. That report would be perfect if you did those 8 things. So what we really found was that our customers wanted more flexibility. Right? They wanted you to give them a landing spot, but they wanted to have the flexibility of adding fields, taking fields off, what have you. So with the Report Anywhere concept, you're going to have the ability to come in and personalize this. If I wanted to add a field, audit period or accounting ledger period or what have you, the system's smart enough to know what I'm looking for. And so if I type in, something that starts with journal, I'm looking for that field, it'll bring me up all the fields that are available for me to add into my list. And I can select that field. It's going to bring it down to the bottom. If I want to move the field up further into my quick, I can highlight that, move it up wherever I'd like it to be, and then go ahead and select OK. The system will sort of put everything there. And then, again, if I want to save this exact view, I can create this as a personal report. And then every time I come back in, I can go to that personal report. It'll bring me to this exact view with all of my filter criteria saved, all of my personalization saved. And then if let's say that I did this personalization, I'm not real keen on it, I can always come back down here and reset, and that's going to take me back to the delivered format for that. And certainly if I wanted to, get into more detail here, we have this idea and concept of drill around, where I can say, well, I want to drill from this AP transaction into the detail. Oh, well, that blew it up a little bit from a resolution perspective. So I can see that, this particular transaction, that is so large. Why is that so large? Came from this particular AP transaction. I can continue to drill around into the source document. So this brings me back into this accounts payable transaction, and I can continue to drill around back into the payables invoice. So I have the ability to even then now go into the actual AP transaction and see it if I have security access to it. So in the same way that Scott showed you going from an AP invoice where he could see all the POs and the requisitions that met that created that, I have the ability from a GL balance to drill into all of the transactions that created that balance from an